Hey, I'm so excited to read your cards. I really, truly am. Um, and so I know we have a lot of ground to cover. And so if you see me looking back and forth or clicking tabs, is because I'm looking at your form and the things that you asked for are very specific. So I want to make sure that I accommodate that. So, two of the things that you asked about were your spiritual journey, and you also asked about your things that you can do, or things that you need to know to get to your next level, right? Of whatever you're feeling like that is. So, you have two cards for that. You have the Seven of Wands, which represents blockages or things we need to work on to get to the next level. And I encourage you to take in the imagery because you're interpreting this, your subconscious is interpreting this just as much as I am, really. So take in the images and enjoy it. And then we have the Nine of Chalices for spirituality. It's a very dreamlike kind of card. So, Seven of Wands. Seven of Wands represents things that you care about. And as you can see in the Seven of Wands, there's someone that is being being really tenacious and being really careful. And so I think that you have a tenacity and a care that serves you well in life. However, the Seven of Wands is saying that in order to get to the next level, and this is going to sound very cliche, but you have to believe in yourself. You have to believe in yourself, and namely, you have to believe in the ideas that you have and the creative energy that you bring into a space. Because when you come into a space, you already bring a certain sort of care. You bring a certain sort of creative um, element where people can explore themselves and their art and their life, right? And you do this not just when you're doing art. This is just a part of you. And so you have to believe a little bit more, right? In getting to your next level, that you can, like, that there is a next level to get to, and that you have the things that you need to get there. You also have to be, um, I'm choosing my words carefully here because it's almost like you have to be, or it helps to be, you don't have to, it helps to be really clear and really firm on, like, these are the moves that I'm trying to make, right? These are the things that I'm trying to do, and I'm not going to allow my dreams to be usurped by because they're not convenient for other people. It's that kind of energy, right, that we need right now. Not saying that you don't have it, but being intentional about it. Spiritually, I love the Nine of Chalices for this because the Nine of Chalices represents that it's like almost like, okay, y'all, been there, done that, and now here I am, here I sit, and I'm ready. I'm ready to just enjoy. I'm ready to enjoy the fruits of my labor. I've learned a lot, I've seen a lot, I've experienced a lot, and I've felt a lot, and now I'm ready to find a place to rest. And spiritually, what that could mean is just doing the things that you feel called to, doing the things that you feel pulled to. So if you feel pulled to meditate 10 minutes a day and to go to church and to do, those are the things that you need to do, and find healthy spaces where you can express your spirituality. The Nine of Chalices represents a certain sort of satisfaction, the satisfaction of knowing that you have choice and that you have agency in your spiritual journey. And so, really, this is just an affirmation that you can choose. You can choose the things that you want to do, and that there's not a hard and fast wrong, right? When it comes to your spiritual journey at this point, um, there's not a wrong thing to do. And so, if you're pulled to go back to church and all of these things, I think the Nine of Chalices is like, okay, well, what's your pleasure? What makes you feel rested? What makes you feel good? Um, and I think there's something to be said about that. I'm adjusting because, just give me 1 second. Okay, sorry about that. I have chronic pain, and so sometimes I have to adjust how I'm sitting or do a quick stretch, and then I can press on. So when we get up to the first three cards, well, I guess technically those are your first two, but when we get up to the first three cards that I pulled for you, we have the Eight of Pentacles, we have the Queen of Swords, and we have the Five of Wands. Very, very powerful, powerful imagery here. Eight of Pentacles represents your platonic relationships and dealing with people. And that was the first thing that you listed. How do we deal with people? How do we work through platonic relationships? And the Eight of Pentacles, Pentacles, again, is earth energy. It's what we see, hear, taste, smell. It's our career. It's our time. It's our resources. And the Eight of Pentacles is about watering those relationships that water you, and being in a reciprocal relationship with your platonic friends and committing to building reciprocity in the relationships that you create and make moving forward. The Eight of Pentacles tells me that you share a lot. You share a lot of time, love, care, resources in your platonic relationships. And whenever you choose to really see someone, and whenever you choose for someone to be in your life. And so I think the Tarot is actually honoring that and encouraging that side of you, and encouraging you to continue to pour in to the relationships that are healthy for you to pour into. You've already started that pattern, and so this is just an extension of that pattern that you've already started. Now when we get into, I'm going to click the tab so I can keep track. Now when we get into career, oh my gosh, you got to speak up. Speak up, speak up, speak up. Speak up. Speak up for yourself. Speak up for your art. Speak up. And I say that because we have the Queen of Swords here. The Queen of Swords, I love. Swords represents communication. It also represents like thought life. And the queens represent mastery of communication, even when, and this is key for the Queen of Swords, even when it is not easy, even when it happens in the circumstances of like, okay, I have to be real clear. I have to be real clear about my career. I have to be real clear about the kind of working environments that help me. I have to be real clear about how much I'm getting paid. I have to be I have to be clear, and I have to speak up. And I think that's an encouragement for you to speak up about your career and where you want it to go. The queens direct things, and you can't direct other people, but you can direct yourself. And you can make decisions that are in alignment with the direction that you want your career to go. And so you have to stand in your power and make those decisions and say those things, and deal with what is, right? Deal with the reality that is presented to you, and then speak up about your reality and your truths in your career, okay? So that's a big theme for you in your career. When it comes to education and mentorship, I don't know what's going on with that. I think that's more of a question for you, because I'm seeing a theme of conflict here. And the Five of Wands, 5 is about transition, and it's the middle of a journey, and you can decide where the journey goes from here. I think that there's conflicts with a mentor or mentors, because you have an idea of the wand or the passion or the vision that you want to see, and it seems like they or those people have other visions of where they want you to be, what they want you to do, and sometimes that conflict is actually helpful for us, because it creates an incubator that really, really pushes us to say, okay, I hear you, and this is my wand, this is my passion, this is what I care about. And so if you're going to serve me as my mentor, can you help me get there? And if you can't help me get there, can you explain to me why you can't help me get there, and what our relationship should be from here? You've got to do that with your mentors, and you've got to be intentional about doing that with your mentors from now on. Letting the past be what it is. Let the past be the past, right? Because you're at the 5 now. You can change the course of how you've been doing mentorship and education. You can change those dynamics. And now is a good time to do that. And so it's okay. You're not being selfish. You're not being an asshole. You're not being difficult to say, these are the visions that are important to me. These are my values. These are the ones, right? These are the values that are important to me. And I'm not, and if you're going to be my mentor, if you're going to help me, then you have to take those things seriously too, and not try to mold me into the things that you want me to be or do the things that you want me to do, but help me where I fall short, in seeing the longer vision and help me get to my goals. Okay. So that again, this theme of speak up is arising. Speak up, um, in these areas because it's going to help you and it's going to help other people get clear about who you are and what you value. When we get to identity, yes, it is broad. But when we talk about identity, and then we're going to romance, so romantic relationships. Um, Here's what I'm seeing in that. Okay, so we've got the Three of Wands. The Three of Wands, your Three of Wands is actually in reverse, but let's look at the Three of Wands. You can see a person here. They're like tending to kind of like a life force of this one, and they're amplifying the power. They're amplifying the vision. The Three of Wands represents collaboration and vision making, thinking about the longer term trajectory of where you'd like your life to go. Your Three of Wands is currently in reverse, and that's not necessarily a bad thing or good thing. It just is. And so that just simply means that in your identity, I think the message there is you have space to be who you are. You have space to be the fullness of who you are, and being in the fullness of who you are and learning more about who you are, right? Investing. Look at this person. Like they're like clearly doing something here with care. Investing in who you are and getting to know who you are, whether that's through therapy, whether that's through books, whether that's through journaling. That stuff is not a waste of time. And it seems that you've been made to feel that that stuff is a waste of time or that it's like an additional, right? But it helps you to stand firmly in your power, and it helps you to know your values, um, to know and to cultivate who you are, and to understand that you don't always have to be the same you, right? That everyone thinks you are, that everyone tries to put onto you. And so that's a beautiful thing. The Three of Wands asks you to think about the longer term vision. What are your internal goals? And understand Wands is about fire energy. So understand that you have a say in all of this. You have a say in the identities that you share. You have a say in the identities that you don't share. You have a say in the identities that you really are politicized around. You have a say in the identities that you're not. You have a say. And so again, like you have a say, speak up, like all of these things I think are encouragements to you to really live into the fullness of all that you are. And that you don't have to apologize to people for living into the fullness of who you are. However, and also too, but we have the Five of Swords here, and I'm seeing an aversion to conflict. And so sometimes when we grow in our understanding of our identities, conflict arises. And that's internal conflict and external conflict. Again, you have another Five of Swords. So you have an opportunity here to change how you do conflict, interpersonal conflict and internal conflict. Sometimes we have to fight and advocate for ourselves. Sometimes we have to communicate. This is who I am, and so this is what that means. The Five of Swords, sometimes we can rest that and we can go and pursue other things, right? And so, for example, I'm thinking of, just to share a quick anecdote, I'm thinking of my identity as Black, right? There are some times where I know I have to advocate. I have to say, like, I have to communicate very clearly about what that means for the way that I live. And then there are other times where I'm like, I'm not explaining myself to you, because the investment of that is not going to benefit anyone but you. And so those are things I think you'll be presented the opportunities to think about and to work through, like some interpersonal conflicts around identity. Pace yourself as you do those things. Breathe as you do those things. And with two fives, you have a Five of Wands and a Five of Swords. So that's a lot of transition already. And I think you see yourself in a new light now, which is a beautiful thing. But it also means that you have to communicate that to other people, right? As you can. And so make sure that you have some good healthy coping mechanisms to help you move through transitions, help you move through change, help you feel this inner sense of power and alignment, um and being your authentic self, right? And expressing your authentic self both in your professional relationships and in your personal relationships and in your romantic relationships as well. And then when we move into romance and all of those kinds of things more specifically, temperance, it seems like, is the order of the day. So temperance is about having emotional intelligence, right? And also looking at the realities of whoever is coming into our lives to be a lover, a partner, or a romantic friend. Temperance is about taking things, no, temperance is about allowing things to take their natural course. So we'll say that allowing things to take their natural course, not rushing things, but also not um, completely opting out of the process. Temperance is about boundaries and saying that in order for me to do romantic relationships well, I feel that these are the boundaries that I need to have in place. And it's also being clear about what is your work, what is your internal work, and then what is the work of someone else that will be coming into your life. And so, to kind of further illuminate that, I love this little guidebook that comes with this deck. This deck is the Prisma Visions Tarot deck, and I love this deck. Um, and I want to read you a little bit of the author's notes on this. And it says, learning, and this is in reference to your romantic life. Learning to maintain a balance is essential to survival. Though temptations will perpetually beckon, most sensual delights will prove sweeter in moderation. Excess can be toxic. Don't numb yourself or harm yourself through overindulgence. If you find yourself with more than you need, a neighbor may benefit from your surplus. By sharing with others, life retains its distinct and magnificent flavors. And so, what does that mean in terms of love? I think that that means understanding the ways that you balance, ways that you achieve balance. And I think that that means that understanding that romantic partnership is not the full container of your love, right? That you can, if you're in abundance or if you're in surplus of that, you can give love and you can share love in tangible ways through platonic relationships, through friendships, through romantic relationships. And I think oftentimes we are pressured to think of romantic relationships as the only container that we can really be demonstrative about how we love. And that's not necessarily the case. And understanding that there are times where you may need to pull back and you may need to just love on yourself, right? And be there for yourself and hold space for yourself. And you don't have to feel guilty about that. Even in a romantic partnership, you don't have to feel guilty about that because you are still responsible for caring for yourself. And when we get a romantic partner, um, sometimes in our past we can put that on them, and and that is what it is, right? But I think for you that the temperance is going to be key. You don't have to apologize for being demonstrative about your love. You don't have to apologize for being clear about what you want romantically. And you also don't have to apologize for those times where you're like, I need a minute. I need a minute to myself. I need a minute of independence. I need a moment to reflect. All of that is good. All of that is normal. And you're doing well. I think you're gonna learn a lot this year about conflict and about what you do in conflict. And I think you're gonna be, and I don't think it's gonna be super annoying. I think it's just gonna be like, oh, I think you're gonna notice things, notice patterns of how you deal with conflict. And because you're at the 5, I think you're gonna be like, okay, this is where I want to adjust, or this is where I want to put a boundary, or this is where I can negotiate, right? Or this is where I don't feel like fighting, so fuck it. And so I wish you love during this journey. I wish you peace. I wish you balance. Um, I wish that you know and fully understand and grasp how special you are and how unique you are. Um, I wish you access to resources, both internal and external, as you need them. And I'm rooting for you and I'm supporting you. And I love you. Talk to you soon. Bye bye.